Hello everyone. So I just wanted to make a quick video talking about the topic of scalping, scamming, and all of that kind of thing. It's not clear to me why, but a lot of people right now who are making a lot of money from the TCG hobby are sort of self-describing themselves as scammers and scalpers, when in actual fact they are simply buying a lot of product, holding it for a while, and just keeping it there, not moving it, not doing anything with it. And it's just sort of sitting there, which is the get rich slow scheme, as many people have started to call it. But the reality is, these people are not scamming, they're not scalping. They're buying a certain volume of product and they are holding it. They are not opening it, or even if they do open it, it's their product, it's whatever. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. They're buying a lot of product, they're keeping it there, or they're opening it, and they're doing whatever they're doing with it. That's not scalping and scamming. Scalping and scamming is doing what the guy did today, which is, well, relatively recently anyway, where they snuck into a store and broke in and waited for the delivery to come. Yes, they broke the law in order to get the cards that they needed, or to try and get the cards that they needed to scrape all of them off the shelves before they even touched the shelves. This person was arrested. You can find the news story. It's absolutely madness. Scalping is a specific thing, and it's a negative thing. And we need to be honest about what it is. We need to stop having kind of blurry speech when we're talking about issues in the TCG if we want the TCG hobby to survive. We need to be honest about it. It is a specific negative behavior. It isn't just waiting in, outside of a store, in this case, inside of a store, for several hours before the store opens, trying to get every single copy of a certain set or scrape everything off the shelves at MSRP in order to flip it. That's one aspect of it. Another aspect of it is essentially making up fake prices and saying, well, that's what it costs. If there is no other versions of that product online and you think it should be worth something, put the price up that you think it is. Say a MLP card comes out, list it for what you think it's worth. If somebody disagrees with you, then the market has sort of started to correct itself. If somebody says, oh, well, I have one and I'm going to sell it, I'm going to undercut you, it's a bad practice, but people do it. This is how you kind of learn, or a lot of people should learn, actually, how their card is not actually as valuable as they thought it is. But that's not scalping. That's speculation. Well, I think it is worth X, Y, and Z. You might disagree. You go away. You don't buy it from me. You buy it from somebody else. If I am a good seller, if I'm a good person, I will then check the market sales statistics and see what it actually sold for and adjust my prices accordingly. That's on me. Or I could be like the thousands of dumbasses who literally list their cards for thousands of pounds and they never sell, and they're online listed for pretty much the rest of time, or until eBay no longer exists. That's not scalping. You can argue it's scamming. You'd be wrong, but you can argue it's scamming. Market speculation on an area where there is no available product is not, it's not scalping. Buying every copy of a product that is available at a local store, keeping it exactly how it is, and then flipping it for over a 40% profit, that is scalping. Taking a card game and making it so that it is so ridiculously hard to get the cards that there is no possibility of it being available to the general public. That is scalping. If you are buying cards to hold, to keep, from say if you buy the first wave of Ascended Heroes or whatever, you buy that, you keep it, or you open it, whatever you want to do with it. Don't care. It still counts. You are not scalping. You are buying a lot of product. If you are buying the product to simply flip it online immediately for a cheap pump and dump, kind of scam, that is scalping. The issue here is intent. If you intend to buy some product, you buy from a distributor, if you're lucky enough, or you buy from an LGS and you support a local business and you buy a certain amount of product from them or from a distributor directly, and you put it in a warehouse and you keep it there, or you do whatever you want to do with it, you can burn it for all I care. That's not scamming. It's not scalping. It's buying a lot of product that's helping the company. What is scalping and scamming is taking the product off the shelves from retail stores, from LGSes, buying everything you can at MSRP, and then immediately reselling it for pennies. Well, rather for the cost to you is pennies. In other words, you are just going to be paying for shipping essentially. But you are going to profit 20, 30, 40 times. And we need to be clear about this because, again, if we want this to survive, we need to define our terms very carefully. Because you cannot just go, oh, well, I'm a scalper. Oh, yeah, look at me. I've got like loads of copies of X, Y, and Z card. Look at me. I'm a scalper scanner and all this shit. I've seen it happen loads of times with YouTubers who are just kind of taking the piss, really. And I'm like, no, that isn't scalping. That isn't scamming. The scalpers and the scammers are the ones who are literally having a direct impact on the actual gaming, like the card game itself, the availability of cards. So the two factors that we need to look at is volume, so how much are they buying, and intent. What are they doing with it? And if the answer to what they're doing with it, if they're buying a lot of product, okay, that's fine. People buy a lot of product for a lot of different reasons. It's the final part, the intent. What are they doing with it? That is what matters. And to tell you the truth, a lot of what these people are doing, it isn't scamming, it isn't scalping. I've seen instances of scamming and scalping together, and yeah, it looks a specific way. It looks bad, and it looks obvious. And you can tell them a mile off because you're getting Ascended Heroes 50 boxes for 1,000, £15,000 or whatever, $18,000, something like that. Like, these people know what they are doing. They are trying to deliberately inflate the value of the product. And people say as well, people defend it. People say, oh, well, it's just, it's poor people trying to make ends meet during a hard time. No, it's not. It's not at all. Poor people will always have very little. Right now, I know many people who have very little. I don't have very much myself. I am in a situation where I'm just about to finish my master's and just about to go on to the next part of my life. There's job problems everywhere. There's all kinds of economic factors as to why a person might, struggle for money. But you don't take cards from kids. You don't remove huge amounts of product from the community, the local community, in order to directly profit. You are being a piece of shit. So again, let's define the actual term. It is the volume. That's one factor. People buy lots of a product. Okay, fine. You get whales. They support the community, whatever. Then it's the intent. The intent is the most important part. What are they doing with it? If it's directly flipping, hey, you got yourself a scammer or a scalper. If it's buying in a big, massive buying circle, saying, oh my god, Ascended Heroes is going to be so expensive soon. You better buy every single copy, and then they go, oh my god, yeah, and they're all commenting in the Discord and they're buying in a big circle, and then, oh look, a reprint comes out. Oh, your price went down. Oh, actually, it turns out that compared to the 30th, your cards are pretty much valueless. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. The issue is as well that, again, like I've said before, there isn't laws against scamming and scalping. There's more laws against scamming more directly. Now, scamming I would define as more negative behavior, like deeply negative behavior, the kind of behavior where it's like you stole a kid's Pokemon cards and that kind of thing. There's uh, there's just like there's no kind of sense at all in defining yourself as a scammer or a scalper, and people do. Big YouTube channels do as well that deal with TCGs and stuff. It's not a good thing. These people, in the end, will, like the people who are actually scamming and scalping, they'll get caught doing it. Because if you can do it with Pokemon cards, what else are they doing it with? Like, you need to consider very seriously what we're talking about here. We're talking about people who are affecting the livelihood directly of the games community, of the community that is enjoying the game. And they're doing it for profit. We're talking about people who are not just, buying a couple of boxes and flipping them online. Okay, fine. You can argue that's scalping. You can argue that's scamming. You can argue that's, profiteering off of a local versus regional versus international kind of stage. Fine, sure. We can play word semantics all you like. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if it's small scale. Because again, like I said, it's the scale that matters. If say for example, a guy comes home from work and he's got a spare £1,000 or £1,500, and right at the right point, he buys Perfect Order. He buys a whole crate of Perfect Order ETBs, and he puts them away, and he doesn't think about them. And then the next day, he sees the price has gone up, and he flips it. Okay, who cares? Again, that is such a small volume of the market. That is such a small amount of the actual total overall cards. It doesn't matter. And yeah, he'll make a little bit of money. Cool. I'll say he keeps it for a year or 2 years. Brilliant. He's now playing a completely different game because a year or 2 years in Pokemon is forever. Who cares? That's a person who's doing an honest, in my opinion, honest thing, because he's not ripping people off. He's not taking people for a ride, essentially, and he is actually making a decent profit. Say 40 to 50% profit, or maybe more, depending on Perfect Order's performance. That's fine. It's stupid. I would argue it's probably the worst thing that you could do. The best thing that you could do is to keep it and store it and never look at it for 10 years or whatever, and then sell the product online when the population is so low on TCG Player and all of these other sites that The zero, it's zero. Like you just sell it, you get to make the price at that point. Again, when it doesn't exist, you can just make the price. You can guess the price. The market will agree or disagree and decide if you're ripping them off. So, that's fine. That's completely fine. That's a person who is doing it properly. A person who isn't, again, I will have to reiterate because I'm trying to make a very specific point here. A person who's instead going to Walmart, Tesco's, Asda, whatever, food store or local area or whatever, and is buying the whole box, like the whole thing before the staff actually have it on shelves, is bringing it to the till and is taking it home. That guy's a piece of shit. That guy's a scammer. That guy is a person who is a scalper. And why are they a scalper? Well, again, they've removed the availability of this product from the local area, so kids can't get it. And they've also bought the whole volume, so that's two criteria. And their intent, flip it online. Ding, 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 that's all three. That's a scammer. That's a scalper, rather. A scammer, I would argue, is a very different thing. A scammer is a person who is exploiting parts of the market or stealing or taking something very specifically and is trying to not just flip it, but profiteer from it. So, for example, they overestimate or they overvalue a card and insist it is worth that much. And beyond that, they insist to everybody else, oh, well, I've got this 10 million pound playing card and it's worth all of this money and it will always be worth all of this money and you should invest in me, aka Logan Paul. That's a scammer. A person who knows the card is worth cardboard. A person who knows that cardboard can hold value, that TCGs can hold value, can produce valuable cards. And then goes beyond that, goes beyond what it is actually worth, goes beyond what anything is reasonable, and instead decides, well, screw them. I'm going to market this how I want to market it. And I'm going to exploit the system. And I'm going to make it as hard for people as possible to acquire this. In other words, a scammer is a person, to sum it all up quite neatly, who, through other means, creates artificial scarcity and also creates artificial demand, either through insistence, which is, they say, look how valuable it is, look at how valuable it is, it's so valuable, my card is so valuable, blah, blah, blah. See it everywhere. We see it in cars as well. Or they quite simply just outright state that all other versions of it, people are undervaluing. It's not actually worth that. Their cards are actually undervalued. My card's worth this much, and I would argue there is a lot more scamming when it comes to PSA stuff. Again, that's a topic for another video. Than there is actually within the community itself, within the actual broader community. Because when you produce a PSA 10 Charizard, again, I don't want to pick on that card too much, but it is the thing holding the whole community together. When you take that card and you put it into this little plastic thing, it's worth $1 million, according to some. That's not speculation. That's not speculative market work. That's not, people actually saying, well, I think it could be worth, I think it should be worth. That's a different thing. So we've defined scammer, we've defined scalper. That's as much as I need to do. Overall, just stop using the term like it's a floaty thing. Anybody who makes TCG, money from TCGs is a scammer or a scalper. That's not true. You're not a scammer or a scalper if you are making the money honestly. If you are taking a product that is unknown, that is does not have an inherent value on the market, and you place it onto the market for what you think it should be worth or what you think it could be worth. And then if a person then decides to buy or not buy from you, that's fine. That's the market making decisions. That's individuals in the market making decisions rather. But if that, person, if a person comes along and sells another one, and another person comes along and sells another one, and your price is consistently wrong, maybe adjust your prices. Simple as that. Yeah. So yeah, just we need to actually talk about things properly and stop constantly insisting that these terms are light and we can just throw them around. So yeah, thanks for listening. This will be my last video for about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like that. If not a little bit longer, as I have a new baby on the way. So yeah, I'll be having fun with that. Thank you for listening.